Welcome to Sikh News Express. In the program Right Angle, we have Bhai Baldeep Singh with us. He is a former Aam Aadmi Party leader and a conservator of art.
Suspended rather.
Okay, so he's a suspended Aam Aadmi Party leader and also the conservator of music, art, literature and culture. So can we start by talking about the politics in Punjab? What do you have to say about the political scenario just before the elections?
Well, two expressions. One is khichdi and the other is machi bazaar. Both of them are sort of would explain, or fish market as they say, would explain what's happening in Punjab right now. It is unfortunate, but I think it's part of the churning process. I'm hoping that something good will form.
Now, what do you have to say about the new entrants in the political fray?
You see, Punjab, when it becomes a khichdi, as I say, it is not a matter whether there are only 10 grains of a particular dal. You see, even they give you flavor. So even the irrelevance of certain fronts makes them relevant. So it has come down to that level. That even an individual can get up and say that I am forming an X thing or a Y thing or a Z thing. But that's what khichdi is like.
And what do you think about the political stability if there is a hung assembly in Punjab?
Well, hung assembly, I think I was the first one. People were scoffing at me last year when I had said about a year and a quarter ago that Punjab is, to my understanding, headed towards a hung assembly unless something drastically changes or a miracle occurs. Now, good sense is also a miracle that we hope for, which is such a rare value in society around the world. Look at what happened in England. Look at what is happening in the United States. Look at what is happening in Europe and East Europe and so on and so forth. So it is very unfortunate what exactly is happening. In hung assembly, as I had predicted at that time, people were sort of grinning behind my backs. But now it's now, for the last 2 months, people have been now speaking about it, and I've got many calls and messages saying that, Bhai Sahab, you were right. It is not good for Punjab in one sense, but it is very good for Punjab in the other sense. So I may be perhaps the only one who's not afraid of having a hung assembly in Punjab.
Now, over the past, say, 2 or 3...
And let me just say that it's because it will make people think. I think Punjab has to shed its petty skin of voters making themselves available for being bought, for vote contractors from prevailing and manipulating and rigging the elections in very sophisticated manners, and politicians having a stable of people who manipulate elections for them. So it is actually not the will of the people. So the hung assembly will make the people think that they are the ones who destroyed Punjab. It may be better, it may not be politically correct thing to say. As a teacher, I am ruthless in my field as well. So because I say the fact, if I see, I'll show you the mirror. So Punjab's voter is the one who has allowed these petty politicians
now, do you think that
to do what they have done to Punjab, to loot Punjab?
Do you think that in the last 2 elections, Punjab has voted on specific lines, and will the religion matter this time?
You see, last 2 votes, religion never mattered. When has religion mattered? Religion was destroyed way back in the 19th century. Religion was deemed down to the stages, to irrelevance. Socialism and secularism is now being mistaken as if it's a graveyard of religion. How preposterous. And now they're telling us that dharm and rajniti nu ad rakho, keep politics and religion apart. This is a country, for God's sake, formed on the basis of politics of religion. Why was Pakistan formed? What was the Muslim League being instigated and propagated, and people were saying, if you're like now, you see a member of parliament, not one, several of them daring and challenging the good sense of this country, day in and day out, saying, Musliman hona hai to Pakistan chahiye ya samandar mein jaiye. They are doing politics of religion and they want to teach us. The Sikhs go, oh, please keep religion and politics separate. Excuse me. It cannot be, it's inseparable. You cannot separate dharma out of me, and you cannot separate my requirements, my dignity, my rights from me, and that's politics. That's my politics.
And what do you have to say about a particular political party which is a close associate with the Akali Dal? Now, both parties have almost different ideologies. Now, both the parties would be forming an alliance and contesting the election together. Will there be differences?
Are you talking about the Bharatiya Janata Party?
Yes.
So why are you afraid? Why are you apologetic?
No.
Say it.
Okay, and the other thing is, whatever happened in Jammu and Kashmir, can that really happen in Punjab as well?
There's so much happening in Jammu Kashmir. You're talking about how the government has been formed or how the people are being heard?
How the people are being heard?
Well, we have already seen it in Punjab. There were areas where a generation aged 16 and 35 was eliminated. So that kind of extermination happened, and several of my family and friends in bureaucracy, in politics, and in civil services, in paramilitary, they were saying it's a silence of a graveyard. They would tell me at that time, Bhai Sahab, this is not actually the fruit, this is not peace. It is the silence of a graveyard. So the government, the central government has to wake up. They have to understand that the policies which were at that time initiated by the then Congress regime, that they have to have a rethink. Jammu Kashmir needs a rethink. And Punjab, because you see, one has to carry on the pending files, issues that have not been resolved. We the Sikhs, in the proposal that I have made that perhaps it is time to revive the Hindustan Gada Party, I begin with the politics of religion, the question that you asked. I answer that. That people, for example, the government has been playing the religion of politics, or the politics of religion, both ways. The deprived communities of South Asia, was it the Indian nation that discriminated against them? No. It is Manusmriti. Manusmriti is to do with Vaishnav, Sakat, Shaiva, Dharma. They are the ones who perpetrated, quote unquote, if they say crimes against humanity or making people, depriving them of their basic human rights, etc., etc., slavery and so on and so forth. So make those communities pay for it. Why is the nation paying for it? It is like I commit a crime, but you are made to pay. India as a nation never even existed. But if you want to help the underserved communities, there has to be a different way. You cannot combine both of them. Now, point I'm making to answer your question now, that was basically a preamble. Punjab. What was Punjab as such? There was nothing. There were kingdoms. Now, the Sikhs had kingdoms. They had rights, sovereign rights. They were nation independent states. Where are the files? The Sikhs as such, who were invited by both Jinnah and by Gandhi, Nehru and Vallabhbhai Patel combined, everybody was begging because of the financial prowess, because of the business acumen, because of the military, and warrior-like abilities, the Sansapahi paradigm that the gurus have given us, both wanted us. Promises were made, but of course, as the then elders said that we are not in for this divide. That's why Malerkotla was never, we beg, please don't go. Because we are bound by our gurus. We bow in front of Guru Granth. The first author is Baba Sheikh Farid, who says 11 times in Guru Granth Sahib that if you do not do 5 times namaz a day, you're worse than a dog. I bow to Baba Farid every day, as I bow to Guru Nanak. As I go to Baba Bhagat Farid, Bhagat Kabir and Ravidas and Bhagat Ramanand, for example, who hails from the Chennai area, is a Kattar Brahmin. I also am more to Kat Jaiye Re Ghar Lago Rang, Mera Chetna Halay Manu Bhayo Pang, Bhagat Ramanand, one composition, Rag Basant, for example. So the civilization was brought together, people were brought together by the Bhagats, the Peers and the Gurus. We were taught that there's no Hindu in the world, there's no Muslim in the world. We were taught the religion of reason. Ke Ved Kateb kaho mat chuthe chutha jo na bichare. Do not call any literature, any scripture, be it Semitic, be it Indic, as false. False are those who do not engage in contemplation. But the point is, if you really want to resolve Punjab, if you want to resolve Kashmir, you have to talk to the people.
Now, do you think...
unless you engage in a conversation, in a dialogue, if you come as oppressors, you're losing the battle of perception.
Have the leaders failed us, or the people have failed themselves?
Leaders are the ones, there was no experience of this leadership. We had leaders who ruled the kingdoms. They were small kingdoms. Now, British never ruled this India. What we see today. Because post 1947, Vallabhbhai Patel and others went around and basically bamboozling, oh, you join us or we'll blast you. So India is such as it is today. People have to start telling this is not the India that the British ruled. For example, I am descendant of those Sikhs who fought with the British. I don't have a memory of being colonized. We are those Indians also who never lived as a colony. There was an India as well. There was an Indian India as well. There is the dignity of our dignity. We were not colonized. The British would never dare enter our domains.
Now, how do you rate the Constitution of India when it comes to such kind of conflicts where everybody is saying, no, say our interests were not accommodated in the Constitution of India?
No, you see, when you talk state matters are a very serious matter. I do not have to. You are a bearer of the fourth pillar of the nations. In fact, every nation regards journalism and respondency, to be able to respond and call spade a spade, that ability to reason, to check, to counterbalance, to measure, to gauge. You see, and therefore I talk to you in that sense. When it is a state matter, you cannot shove anything under the carpet. Nehru made a mistake when he says, "Ab sama badal gaya." What was sama badal gaya? Just because we the Sikhs, because we trusted, we allowed our military, Sikh military, without which the Great War and the Second World War would never have been won. We allowed our financial resources and human resources and military assets to be merged with the Indian nation. Doesn't mean that sama badal gaya. What is this diplomacy? Where is this statesmanship? It is stupidity. So the matters when you sign draft a constitution, and not a single promise which is made prior to 1947 to the Sikh nations, there were a few of them. None of them is kept. The Sikhs said, but excuse me, what is this? We are not going to sign this because this is not what you promised. No, so therefore the matters cannot be because we have no problem. As I said, we are the ones who are saying we refuse the politics of religion, basically. Why? Because I, as a good Sikh, cannot understand what is it to divide a nation on the basis of languages. What is it to divide a region on the basis of religions? It is stupidity.
No, then why did
so
it
we don't
really
understand.
Happen? Why?
It is because these people did not have the courage that Muslims may be in a majority, or Jinnah could have been the Prime Minister of India. He, poor fellow, was dying. The Nehru could have been the second Prime Minister. It's greed. It's political greed. It's infatuation with power. It's lust for power. And those mistakes the nation is breeding without a single bullet being fired. Hundreds of billions of dollars each day are being spent by the fragments of our civilization in South Asia. And look at what they would do if $1 million is given to a single village every year. 70 years have gone by. Do the math.
Okay, now what do you have to say about French groups which are playing a very dominant role in the national politics?
You see, when you fracture things, there are gaps which remain, there are cracks which occur. And those are the places where bacteria and viruses unnecessary, they breed.
Okay, you were talking about Ghadar Party, revival of Ghadar Party. Now, how can it be revived and what is the political relevance of that?
You see,
today?
what has changed? You know, revolution, revolt. If you look at the latent roots, it simply means to change. Rivoltare. So it's not as menacious or it's not a menace of a term as it is being understood down to be. What is Swaraj, for example? Swaraj is independence. If people can go, hame chahiye Puran Swaraj, then how is it relevant to call it Ghadar? Because Ghadar is the effort you need to make, the care with which you need to, to start a revolution, to sustain a revolution, and to bear the fruit at the end. Desired fruit, the fruits that you prayed for in the beginning, not that you asked for X thing and you end up saying, okay, I got a Y in the end, chalo chalta hai kind of an approach.
Now,
so
why have
relevant?
The modern political parties which were framed in India do not sustain themselves or are unable to sustain themselves and fall apart?
Very good question, Janab. You see, personality driven and personality-oriented politics and political parties have never taken the nation to the heavens. It has always been a disaster. Look at movements, as long as they were the charismas of a collective, they bore fruits unimaginable. The moment they became centered towards one or the other, the balance changed. And no boat sustains, it rocks. The moment you, from a musical perspective, to see saaz nu besura kar deo, if you detune an instrument, I'm sorry, it will not be a melody, to the ear.
So, when did your melody with Aam Aadmi Party go bad?
At the very beginning, Ji. When I joined in 2014, after the results of 16th of May 2014 or 2014, the very first meeting in Delhi, it was a Monday morning at about 11:30 or so. We began a meeting in the house of Arvind. Manish Sisodia, Prashant Bhushan, they were witnesses, where my meeting was with Manish and Arvind at that time, and it was wonderful times, and we had a lot of respect. I mean, there was a lot of respect and dignity amongst us, a lot of compassion. And camaraderie, I would say, and it was just a meeting because I was the first member of parliament candidate in the country from the Aam Aadmi Party. I don't want to claim anything beyond, because you never know, there may be wonderful people and people who are driven by causes. On the starting on the 3rd of May, 16th of May were to be the results. I began to plan and plot on the 3rd of May. 8th of May is the first 5 meetings I did in Baba Bakala and Jandiala Guru constituencies, the legislative assembly, 2 of the 9 assembly, Punjab State Assembly seats in my constituency. And on that day, I met more than 1900 volunteers. It was not even, they were not public rallies. In 5 meetings starting at 9:30, which recorded in diary, they were shocked. There were people who, out of the 25 lakh votes, people don't understand, I brought in about 8 to 9 lakhs. There were 3 factors, as the psephologist then said: Bhagwant Man's daring against the Badals, Bhai Baldeep Singh's speeches, they called it statesman-like speeches. There was substance, there was reason, there was organicity, etc. They had so many words. And I'm just quoting them, and I'm removing words which would sound as if I'm praising myself. They said plenty of things. And the third we said was the unbelievable undercurrent that existed for the Aam Aadmi Party. These 3 factors is what they said. I heard, and I don't really get carried away by these waves, because today there is, I'm taught by Guru Tegh Bahadur, man upman, don't fall prey to either of them. But I'm just sharing with you what I heard at that time. Now, I took notes. They said the activists, out of those 1900 activists, that each one of them had 250, 300, 200 like that, They said they were shocked in the responses after my meetings as I would go. Some elders would come up and say, I have been a left wing or I've been a right wing, I've been a, played the backward, politics, backward bloc and centrist, etc. They said, we've been activists for 30, 40, 50 years. Different people said that. We've never seen a candidate hit the ground running before even the election results are called. This is a new phenomena. Now we understand why is Aam Aadmi Party saying that they will change the system. Now we see this is not a joke. We have never seen a candidate stand in front of 200, 300 people, volunteers and activists from a constituency and asking for what are the issues. Let us draft. We're going to be making advisory committees. Talk of internal security, talk of finance, talk of education, talk of roads, talk of anti-drug, talk of drug and rehabilitation, talk of sports, etc. I began to form, please, I would say, meri sadi di choli addi hai, sanu aap de heere deo. Ahi heere kathe karna hai ji. Ahi kam laune hai ji. This is what I begged of people. They said this is a new, we've never seen this. And the Aam Aadmi Party, you can see how retarded or how latent they are, what the kind of latency. They are starting to form committees 2 years and 3 months after I had begun to form in the month of May of 2014. Now, I had that meeting with Manish and Arvind after the 16th May results because I had done about 5 meetings already. Now, what I saw when Fulka and Bhagwant Maan and others were brought, the 4 MPs in Gulen, Fulka brought them to parade in front of Arvind Kejriwal, the kind of claims they were making. I told Manish Sisodia afterwards, I said, if the culture that prevails in the other parties, the reason for which I never became a member of any political party, because you see in Punjabi, am I allowed to say something in Punjabi? ਉਹ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਮਹਾ ਤਾਂ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਨਕਸੜੇ ਬਣੇ ਆ ਤੇ ਹੁਣ ਫੇਰ ਉਹੀ ਗੰਦਗੀ 'ਚ ਪੈਰ ਰੱਖਣਾ ਪੈਗਾ ਤੇ ਕੀ ਬਣੂ. So I said that if that kind of the kind of culture that prevails and plagues the political parties, which kept us away from them, if that culture was now to prevail in our party, then why have we gotten together? This was the question I posed to Manish outside after a bogus meeting of 2 hours at the house of Arvind. Manish had left after 1 hour. He got bored. After he said, Bhaiji, what is happening? This is a wastage of time. What are your friends from Punjab doing? We don't have time to take a breath, and 2 hours have been wasted. To what good? This was Manish's aspect. So I told him one thing, that I am going to now, I showed him the diary. I said, I have taken notes. Look at the first 9:35 meeting. 28 issues have been noted down. And the next meeting, I said, I did not open the diary because the culture I saw. They're only trying to backbite, they're trying to backstab against the other stalwarts within the party with the hope that Arvind will be fooled by that and they will be now deemed as irrelevant and that XYZ people will become relevant. So my disagreements began then. The second major disagreement was the way the state executive committee was formed. The 3 reasons that were shared with me by PAC members was that these so-called, gods of Aam Aadmi Party, some of them who are aspiring to be, who are dreaming so hard to be CMs when they would rather learn a thing or two becoming sarpanches or even be panchayat members. They need to start from there actually to learn about procedure, because wherever they have been given charge, they don't even know what is procedure. How is it to hold decorum? So when you don't even know that, how will you deliver? So my question is about deliverance for the people of Punjab. Now, they said, oh ji pai ji ne ji, ragi ne ji, ota ji dekho, see he didn't come to Sonam now for the meeting. He is in Europe ji making money singing. Now, for God's sake, I have never made a ragi chatha. Guru Nanak sang is who inspired me to sing. I learnt. How to sing? I sing, okay, they say I am not second to anybody, but I am maybe equal to some of the finest. There people say, writers and art critics, and they've said it, they say it. I don't know, I think I am not good enough. I have never published myself, my solo single recording. I have a studio, world-class studio. We specialize in audio restoration. Some of the finest microphones are there. They lie around. Nobody even knows how the count is. Technology is around there. I'm an ex-pilot, right? I'm an ex-aviator. I used to, Chandigarh is where I was born and irretrievably spoiled, as I am fond of introducing myself. Point is, technology, kids who were born today, yesterday, the day before, we understand. We are the blend of the past and the coming, I was in Europe doing Aam Aadmi Party Italy, chapter Aam Aadmi Party UK and AAP Scotland tours. I had promised my family that I'll give you 1 month. Then I said, okay, I can give you 13 or 12 days. Out of that, I only gave them 2.5 because they called me at my expense. They tried to contribute some, which was maybe 1/6 of the expense of my ticket flights. I was doing that work and they kept the meetings here. They said, Bhaiji, me and Meera Sanyal were in the meeting in London, the first one with the AAP UK volunteers, and it was an important because they had done so much, the volunteers outside of India. They said, Ota ji, paise kab out gaye? Oh, what has he got to do with the state executive ji? Keep him out. One. Second, oh gee, he deals in, because these are the hands, after I gave up flying, I renounced my flying career in the year 1989-90, the ability to hand carve aircraft models and win competitions. I went researching after musical instruments, the extinct musical instruments, and by 95 I had handcrafted all the extinct musical instruments back to life. Now I have never sold an antique instrument in my life. I buy them or I beg ke mujhe de do, yaar joli de do, iski seva mujhe do. Is how I do. Second allegation to keep me out of the state executive was, oh gee, he deals in antique instruments. He's gone to Europe, you see, Arvind ji, to sell antique instruments. So what has he got to do with the party function? Chodo ji, you leave him out. And the third allegation, and I've seen the text message of this, by the way, which was sent to the gentleman who was manning the Punjab Facebook site. And I could not believe, we are driving to Scotland, they're laughing, Bhaiji, what is going on in Punjab? I said, what happened? He said, they're saying, remove the poster that we've sent the other day. Because they say, Bhai Baldeep Singh is there selling antique instruments, he's not on an official tour. Is this an official poster? And they're forcing and the claim was that they have asked the Delhi, the main portal of Aam Aadmi Party to remove the poster. That has already been removed, so you in Punjab also remove it. Because he's gone there to deal with antique instruments. And the third, Mr. Fulka, for the first time I'm told that he said it. Oh gee, Bhai Baldeep Singh is using the Aam Aadmi Party to run his foundation, Anad Foundation. Now, I renounced my career before. I told Arvind eventually when we were having a little tips. I said, you renounced your career after becoming a commissioner. I renounced my career before getting my paycheck. So you don't talk nonsense. You guys are reactionaries. We are revolutionaries. Reactionaries act in retrospect. Revolutionaries act in prospect. And unfortunately for you people, revolutionaries are better reactionaries when my fight was going on and so on and so forth. So point I'm making is, then if that is the way you form a state executive committee, there is no reason you're trying to, and without even, not in my presence. And Arvind on the 8th of August in 2014, he agreed. He said, Bhai ji, humse galti ho gayi, aapse phone pe baat karni chahiye thi. And I asked him, I said, well, these guys were doing this, what were you doing? Then he gave a very naughty and a nice innocent smile. He said, why are they keeping me out? He says, Bhai ji, aap bhole hain, agar aap executive, if you were in the executive, you could have been made the Punjab convener, or then, or maybe later. Nobody wanted. I said, so what were you doing? Then he gave me that shy and innocent smile. Point I'm making is, I'm okay within the parties. This is not my main issue, by the way. I'm just saying the mentality that prevails. This is not how you gather or invite people. This is not how you, as I said, we as a party failed on 4 fronts, and I wrote that in 2014. Asset identification. The party as such has failed to identify its assets, both human assets, human resources and financial. Those resources come and go. Any party has them and hasn't them at one time, but human resources, people, the intangible assets, we fail to identify as a party, as an organization. We fail to evaluate our assets. We fail to consolidate them assets. We fail to sort of manage those assets.
A very different kind
but allow me to finish the part, because it's important for me. I should say it in the same breath. My problem was sort of escalated when I was made not part of the state executive. That is not my issue, because in an organization you have to understand, today you're not there, maybe in the future when they ask you, when you join an organization, you agree that maybe they will ask you to do something, maybe they won't ask you. That is well within, it's not even an issue for me, but it's information, that is the mentality that prevailed, that is the niyat, etc., etc. State organizing committee, 2 people from my constituency, one of them who's been in jail on the allegations of rape, who gave fake bills to my campaign to get money. There was given money, because we could not afford at that time to antagonize anybody. One vehicle never existed. One vehicle, the second one, was ordered just to stop, not to do anything. Third one was his own taxi, which was going around wherever they were going. This guy was blacklisted by me on the 2nd of May to one Mr. Sehgal, who was in charge of my constituency and who was taking notes for the party, even the unofficial notes, how much money actually was spent, how much was shown, how many volunteers worked, how many, all those notes. Who are the good people that you saw? Who are the people you would want to blackmark? Those are, it's a normal organizational assessments, which I had no time. I was in the Khan market running some errands. I asked Sehgal and a couple of others to come, the people, they came and I gave my notes. That gentleman was one of the people who was blackmarked. I simply said about him, and the other guy was the then convener, self-styled convener of Kapurthala, one of the other assembly segments of within my constituency. I said that gentleman, there have been complaints already made by people in the railway coach factory of Kapurthala, has been selling the caps for ₹10, which my campaign has given for free distribution. One of my volunteers asked him, isn't this a little expensive, ₹10? He says, gee, it costs me ₹9. So I'm selling it for 10. Now, as a convener, and my convener, in my constituency, one of my conveners is the equivalent of the other party's sitting MLA, sitting legislator, and the other halkedar in charge of that. If I have such kind of people, Khadur Sahib was the most rotten of all the constituencies. I went because of the Akali Dal Gar and the Panthik vote. That is, I said, if we are serious about Punjab, somebody has to volunteer. May be defeated, but that's not why one has to go. One has to go for the long term. Is why I chose. I refused Amritsar. I renounced Chandigarh. I renounced. I cancelled out on Anandpur possibilities. 3 of them which were there on my platter. I chose. They said, don't go. We're not even standing anywhere. No, I said, if you're serious about Punjab, somebody has to go there. And I'm the one who can catch the Akalis by their neck because they've destroyed everything. I'm a revivalist. I've challenged them. Bring anybody. Bring all of people who you've employed, including the politicians. Come and have a debate. I'll sit alone. And no preparations. From a socio-political to a socio-cultural and socio-religious perspectives, come with me. So I said, I am the Panthak person, I am the Asal Akali, these guys are fake Akalis. Is the reason. So 2 people, I'm sorry that I had to interrupt you, but to say this, my problem escalated when 2 people who were found, and I had noted no human or financial no responsibility to manage human and financial resources of the party can ever be given to these people. If they are not to be kicked out, make sure there are other people handling these 2 resources. Now this note of mine is disregarded. There was no cohesion. I checked with the gentleman later. He says, well, yeah, I have them, but other people don't. I said, then what is this, a party or what? Then why have you wasted my 2 hours? If you come and say that, this is how it is, then people have to know. Now, they were made my colleagues in the state organizing committee. And I refused. I said, as long as these two people are not removed, I will not sit in the state organizing committee. I refuse to have them as my colleagues. And 8th of August, in the same meeting of me and Arvind, he apologized. He says, Bhai ji, galti hogi, aapse phone pe baat karni chahiye thi. You give me the names. I have the text which I sent to him the next day. Because he had asked, I could have given the names there and I told the names, but he wanted me to give 2 alternatives from the constituency. So I went and checked out my notes, gave a lot of thought, made a few calls to check who's who, to do a background check. I sent him a text the next day. Till today, no action has been taken. That is where it began to really drive down.
Is he too innocent?
No.
Or in a wise in politics?
I would, in the world, a person who has been part of the civil services loses the virginity of innocence, or loses it all the very first go. When they get trained, they basically they're liberated in all ways, politically liberated, socially liberated, etc. I would say that he just doesn't know. It's not about politics. He doesn't know politics. And as I have many people, oh, come on, he's a master politician. I said, no. Because a master politician knows that 4 people who are in the PAC, namely Prashant Bhushan, on whose CV and agenda of PILs against corruption were the CV of the party. Anand Kumar is such a formidable scholar and an activist, a prodigy of Ram Manohar Lohia. Right? The Jan Lok Andolan at that time, 1977, the gentleman, Narayan, what's his name? I'm forgetting his name. Ajit Jha and Yogendra Yadav. The problem was that because they would counter-argue your stupid proposals, all good proposals were being passed. But if you attempted a stupidity to go and to do a second marriage with Congress, they out-argued you and you lost the votes. Even if you don't want to lose votes, you remove the people who listen to them from them. Why are you removing them? A master politician would have made sure that they were given the best seat listening to them. That would have been a politician. And then these people who were saying, no, he's a politician. I said, no, I don't think he's a politician. So he just doesn't know. He cannot see what is good and what is bad. He cannot identify between who's a good person, who's not good a person. He never pays attention to it.
Is he colorblind or myopic?
He's too busy with his own world. I think his own noise overpowers him. He doesn't see. He has never seen or heard the voice of reason.
Now, what do you have to say about the culture of Punjab in the, say, last 10 years or 15 years down the line? Has it been affected by the rulers or what?
Yes, in the sense that, you see, I'm the head of, I'm now the head of several cultural traditions or pedagogical processes. In 2007, I gave a very pioneering proposal, which is one of a kind in the world, and I set up a scientific advisory committee of 17 of the finest conservators, architects, town planners and conservators, structural analysts, landscape architects, who volunteered to come to Punjab. Professor Paolo Ceccarelli heads it. He holds a UNESCO chair in one of the architectural fields. I brought him in 2008, April of 2008, on a state visit to Sultanpur Lodi. Now, what did they do? I'm a pioneer of a kind. I mean, they say I'm peerless in my field, etc., having revived so much and pioneering, which has inspired not just the coming generations, but also the last 3 generations. Now, the whole aspect of how they've meted out the treatment of the project. When the current regime, Akali Dal, has proposed or announced 2 crore grant in their annual state budget 2011, but the local legislator
from the area, and the then cabinet minister, her people come and say, well, you give half to us and the check will be released. I said, no, thank you very much. I'm not interested. This is a project. We are the children of Guru Nanak, and it's his project.
And we are going to the place where he became the Guru, where the revelation of Mool Mantra happened, where his Udasis began, where he gifted us the gift of Kirtan. He endowed us with the gift of Kirtan there in Sultanpur Lodi. And this is a place where I want people to come and contribute. My foundation is not going to be a medium for someone to make money, to milk money. This is whatever resources are pledged to the foundation, I will not allow them to be siphoned off by hungry or lusty politicians for their tastes. I'm sorry, that's not. And so the money was never, not a single cent was released. I said this is public money, we'll put it to public use. No, not a single cent was given to us. A top corporate, a community elder hailing from Punjab, pledged 20 crores to the 100 crore project. He said, Guru Sahib has given us the culture of the Panch Pyares. Whatever you do, Bhai Sahib, I'll be 1/5 of what you do. You don't have to ever come to me saying what it is. I pledge 20 crores to the project. The moment your project is ready, please, this is my offer, this is my pledge to the project. I came and shared with the Honorable CM here and other concerned people, and the same legislators, people and her, they were interested in siphoning off money from those resources. Now I am going to protect. I will rather not do the project. I have the patience to wait for whenever it happens, but I will not insult the contribution of my pledgees or the people who are wanting to contribute. So I am a protagonist of a very uncommon kind. I cannot hide behind fake humility. This is a matter of fact, right? Now, if I have had to face hurdles from this administration, they've really got to be stupid not to stand by me and let me contribute. And I am the principal trustee of my foundation. I cannot buy a cup of tea for myself. So it is not it's not a for-profit project. It is a non-profit project. It's a non-government and a non-political association. I have not taken FCRA permissions. You know that? My foundation has never received a single dollar from abroad. Why? Because I tell, listen, you people living in America, there is enough Indian American community. You ask me to come, you set up a foundation here, you make it, you run it, I will come and teach, I'll come and share. If the Indians cannot, if the Indian Sikhs and Indian Bhakti tradition followers, Indian Sufi tradition followers cannot harness resources today to safeguard the endowments given to us by the Gurus, shame on us. If we have to go around the world with a begging bowl, as if we the Indians are so down, in the gutter that we cannot raise our own resources. We are so poor, as if that we cannot raise resources to handle our own affairs. So my foundation does not have FCRA permissions. I have never applied. My accountant said, "Wo bhi le le." I said, why? If anybody wants to give, they better give me in Indian rupees. I need the PAN card, etc. Otherwise, thank you very much. I'm not interested in it.
Now, what is the way forward if we talk about Punjab art, literature, culture and politics?
Well, as I have just written today, perhaps it was in anticipation of your visit. I just not verbatim, but I said कि गुरुआ नेता हने हने पीरी दा वादा कीता सी. ए हने हने मीर किथों आ गए? You know, every individual on a saddle, on a motorbike saddle, on a car seat says, I am a CM candidate. As I told Rahul the other day on the debate, on whatever channel, that NewsX channel, that why is anybody surprised? It's a clash of wannabe CMs. Nobody knows about the histories of Punjab. Nobody understands. Nobody knows the politics of Punjab. Where the politics of Punjab, or quote unquote the term Punjab, what is the reality behind, and how can we actually go forward? The aspects, the issues that I have brought on the table, updated them in the year of 2016, the month of Baisakhi, when I began to write and I proposed on 23rd of July, I made them public, are the issues we, the Gursikh community, will have to deal with, whether we deal with them today, the better, or maybe in 200 years. or maybe 500 years, but there will be no way forward until those matters are resolved.
Okay, thank you very much
you're welcome.
for being with us, and hope to see you again.
And Gadar is the way.
Gadar, yes.
Gadar
I
is the
remember
way.
that word.
Absolutely, sir. Gadar is the way. Gadar against, we have to, you see, when the blankets become so dirty and filled with dust, you have to shake them. Chadne pende hai ji. So, any jada corruption, the kind of pseudo capitalist, the pseudo politician, the kind of nexus that exists now, they are siphoning off. They basically, put their, sucking mechanisms. They're sucking away the state's wealth, the nation's wealth, to serve their coffers, to serve their enterprises, and that is very painful for me. It is public assets. They should be for public good. They should not be for private good or a personal good, is my humble supplication to the people. So I think Hindustan Gadar Party may be revived, and I invite you all to join in, and let's harvest Swaraj, the real independence or the absolute independence that we're talking about. ਇਹ ਤਾਂ ਉਦਾਂ ਹੀ ਹੈ ਜਿਵੇਂ ਖੇਤੀ ਮਿਹਨਤ ਕਰਨੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਬੰਦਾ ਕਹੇ ਹੋ ਜੀ ਅੰਗੂਰ ਹੀ ਲਿਆ ਦਿਓ ਜੀ ਸੇਜ਼ਰ ਖਾਂਦਾ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਸੀ ਅਸੀਂ ਵੀ ਖਾ ਲਈਏ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਜੀ ਬਣਾਓ ਉਗਾਓ ਤਾਂ ਸਹੀ. So that is where I would leave it. Thank you so much for remembering. I'm a nobody now, but you spent your time. You came all the way from Delhi.
No,
I'm so grateful to you.
It's a real pleasure talking to you and listening to your views. And I hope that we can really try, and the youth can really try and implement some of them to be better off.
My best wishes to you and your viewers.
Thank you.
Sat Shri Akal ji.